Well, joining me live now is Dr. Kay Danes, a humanitarian advocate who has been working with people on the ground. Dr. Danes, thanks so much for your time. We've been able to bring one amazing story, the story of Bibi, and he's been able to get out. He is in Qatar. What happens next, we just simply don't know. It seems there's been more flights overnight. Australia has got out now well over 1,000 people. It looks like it might even be near the 1,600 mark. Is that more than you thought they'd be able to get out when this operation began?
Oh, we could have got a lot more out, I can tell you. I'm a little bit disappointed with the numbers. I take nothing away from the great ground crew, especially the ADF doing an excellent job. But I think there's a bit of catch-up going on.
Indeed, and we are still getting reports of even Afghans with Australian visas cannot get to the airport. What are you hearing on the ground? Is it now completely impossible?
It's not impossible, Laura. We've been working. Patrick Ryan is an ex-facilities manager at the Australian Embassy, and we started working on this evacuation, years ago, and in greater depth in the last few months, particularly when the embassy closed on the 28th of May. We started getting all the guards and the contractors and their families into a database, and we collated all their information over their unbroken period of employment from 2010 to 2021 into a database to get to the Australian government and request that the government assist us to help them get to safety. Now, we did a stealth operation and I rang the DFAT officer on the ground, on the airside in Kabul and said, we're ready to go. We've got a full 1,200 load. We're ready to go. We got the order to go to the airport, to the DFAT advised location, only to be turned away. We rang the communications with that DFAT officer and said, we've got the guards and their families at the gate. I think they were a little taken back that we managed to get 1,200 people through a Taliban checkpoint to safety. And then they got turned away.
Look, that's incredible. So what was the outcome for them? Have they now gone back into hiding in Kabul, or are they sought safe haven elsewhere?
We've managed to extract them and put them in a safe location. We can confirm that as of 6:20 hours today, we have received information that one Sodexo store manager from our cohort miraculously got himself by the ADF to safety on his DFAT e-visa. Now, that e-visa was rejected. Every single one of our 1,200 had an e-visa from the Department of Foreign Affairs, and they showed the ADF guards at the perimeter and they said, you do not have a visa stamp in your passport, you cannot come in. DFAT acknowledged that our security were there. They identified them as embassy security cohort with their families, and they were turned away. They weren't turned away by DFAT, they were turned away by the ADF on instruction, I believe, from DFAT.
Well, that's interesting because I didn't know that ADF were on the perimeter at the airport. I thought it was just being manned by the US and the UK. So do you have different information?
We have direct information from the ground that they're originally on the perimeter were the Kiwis and the Italians. And then we were informed that Australian Defence Force soldiers, in actual fact, engaged our security guards and were trying to negotiate. We were trying to negotiate with them to let our visa holders through.
Okay, it seems like a really difficult situation on the ground. It remains. And Doctor, the window is closing very quickly, isn't it? Is that your sense of things?
It's closing, and I tell you, Laura, the location that DFAT directed them to was a moat. They didn't direct them to this place, but the direction that they gave them, they were at the gate. It was getting so congested. People were getting crushed. They had to move. They ended up at another location swimming in knee-deep water of human waste. And they stood there for hours pleading with the guards overhead. We are visa holders. We are Australian Embassy guards. We have families and babies. We're just confirming if we've lost one child and one mother.
I'm sorry to hear that. Dr. Kay Danes, keep us up to date, please. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, Laura.